You can expect to go through 5 stages. The first is denial.
No way, because I'm not dying.
Second is anger.
Why, you little...
After that comes fear.
What's after fear? What's after fear?
Bargaining.
Doc, you gotta get me out of this. I'll make it worth your while.
Finally, acceptance.
Well, we all gotta go sometime.
Mr. Simpson, your progress astounds me.
So what if there were a highly obvious problem right in front of you? One that everyone was talking about? One that affected you directly? Would you do everything within your power to fix things before they got worse? Don't be so sure.
What in the world is happening on Wall Street?
I want the cleanest water on earth. I want the cleanest air on earth. And that's what we're doing.
How dare you?
We are all much more likely than any of us would like to admit to miss what's right in front of our eyes. And in fact, we're sometimes most likely to turn away from things precisely because of the threat that they represent to us in business, life, and the world. As you know, in 2008, it all came tumbling down. Banks collapsed. Global stock markets lost nearly half their value. Millions and millions of people lost their homes to foreclosure. And at the bottom, nearly 1 in 10 Americans was out of work.
We're down by between 3 and 4.5% generally across these markets.
We're down over 16%.
The stock market is now down 21%.
Because we're now down 43%.
So after things calmed down a little bit, Greenspan and many others came out with a postmortem and said, nobody could have predicted that crisis. They called it a black swan.
The crisis, however, has turned out to be much broader than anything I could have imagined. Given the financial damage to date, I cannot see how we can avoid a significant rise in layoffs and unemployment.
The black swan lends itself to the idea that we don't have power over our futures. And unfortunately, the less control that we think we have, the more likely we are to downplay it or ignore it entirely. And this dangerous dynamic masks another problem, that most of the problems that we're facing are so probable and obvious. They're things that we can see, but we still don't do anything about.
İstanbul'un içinde kırık bulundu derlerse günaydın dersin. Çünkü İstanbul'un kırıksız olan bir yeri yok. Ama kırık vardır, diri kırık vardır, orta yaşlı kırık vardır, ölü. İstanbul'un kırıklarının çoğu ölü kırık. Yani diğer bir deyimle İstanbul odaklı bir deprem asla olmayacak.
Türkiye Atom Enerjisi Kurumu Çernobil'in Türkiye'deki sonuçlarını örtbas etti. Neydi niyet? Çünkü o yıllarda 1986'da da Türkiye'de bir nükleer reaktör yapma, nükleer santral yapma planı vardı. Akkuyu'nun zaten yer lisansı vardı ve halkın nükleer karşıtı bir şeyi olmasın diye, tepkisi olmasın diye bunlar örtbas edilmek istendi.
Why do some people see things and deal with them, and the other ones just look away? So the first one has to do with culture, society, the people around you. If you think that someone around you is going to help pick you up when you fall, you're much more likely to see a danger as being smaller,
Koronavirüs şu ana kadar yayılım bölgesi Wuhan ve çevresi. Bu bölgedeki genetik kökenli ortak insanları tutuyor. Bunlar daha çok sarı ırk, kısa boylu insanlar.
Tabii ölümler var fakat çok değil. Bu şöyle bir haber hiç yayılmıyor. Bu tamamen kurgulanan bir senaryo diye düşünüyorum. Her zaman kış aylarında enfeksiyon olur, grip olur.
Neymiş efendim? Yarasanın çorbasını yapmış. Çorbayı içmiş, oradan dünya çapında grip bulaşmış.
Empty churches on a somber Easter Sunday as America's death toll soared past 22,000. As Tim Avia reports, tension is now brewing between Donald Trump and a top infectious disease expert who's admitted the president ignored early warnings about the virus.
You must stay safely at your accommodation or home.
Some Brits in Benidorm surprisingly ignored the instructions to stay inside, keen to carry on enjoying their holidays in the sunshine.
It says there's a flu that we just all need to get over. Have a beer. Happy days. Ciao, guys.
Police were called to get them back to their hotels.
One of the reasons we don't act is that we often feel too helpless. Think of climate change. It can feel so big that not a single one of us could make a difference. So some people go about life denying it. Other people blame everyone except themselves.
The climate hysteria movement is not about science. If it were about science, it would be led by scientists rather than by politicians and a mentally ill Swedish child.
I'm not going to lose that wealth. I'm not going to lose it on dreams, on windmills, which frankly aren't working too well. I'm not going to lose it.
How much do you know about a situation? How much are you willing to learn? And are you willing to see things even when it's not what you want? So many of us are so unlikely to pay attention to the things that we just want to black out. We don't like them. We pay attention to what we want to see, what we like, what we agree with. But we have the opportunity and the ability to correct those blind spots. No two of us are the same. Every single one of us has the opportunity to change our attitudes, our own and those of people around us. If you don't see what's in front of you, you're not dumb, you're not ignorant, you're human. And once we all recognize that shared vulnerability, that gives us the power to open our eyes, to see what's in front of us, and to act before we get trampled.